Okay, morning all. It is a glorious morning, this Monday morning. It's nice when the sun shines on a Monday, makes the week ahead seem not so bad. So this morning I am out on new boy Chocolate. I was just about to say he may be a little bit vocal on this because this actually is Chocolate's first ride here at CnG. I am doing absolutely everything that I advise people not to do right now, so please don't follow by example. Chocolate only arrived, when did he arrive? Saturday morning, so 48 hours ago. And just because it's so wet, we're not turning out. He obviously went straight into a stable. He's not left that stable other than just being tied up on the yard when we're doing his stable and things, but he's been in with us since he arrived on Saturday, as I say, 48 hours ago. And I have literally just walked in the stable, tacked him up, got on him and come straight out on my own. You can see it's just us. He may get a little bit vocal because, do you know what, as I bring you this info, he's been an absolute darling so far, but obviously when they're somewhere they don't know, they're a bit more sort of alert and having a look round and things, and you can sometimes get that they're a little bit vocal. And then just as we're walking down here, a little cob was turned out in his field who spotted Chocolate, and he's quite an inquisitive little cob and wanted to run up and down his fence and neighing, so Chocolate's sort of called back a couple of times. So if we get a little bit of Chocolate being vocal, then that's completely understandable and acceptable, especially, as I say, it's his first ride. Now, as I say, I have just tacked him up, pulled him out and got on. There's been no lunging, no turnout, no exercise, no hacking out with another, everything. Oh, is he still calling to you, matey? Everything I would advise against. Just remember, guys, obviously we're experienced riders and I've got a good amount of information, and I know quite a lot about the horses before they come to us. That said and done, they are horses. They're allowed to have reactions, they're allowed to be anxious, they're allowed to be excitable, worried, whatever it is. And obviously that can just sometimes show in horses' behaviour. I'm not talking about Chocolate now, I'm talking about horses in general. So it doesn't matter how good the horse is, I would always advise on doing things safely, sensibly and correctly, and not as I've done it this morning. On the plus side, it does just show you how good Chocolate is, to be fair. So Chocolate, as I say, arrived Saturday. He's 14.2. He is on the list as bigger, guys, but he has arrived and he is 14.2, so he's not 15 hands, guys. So anybody that possibly was interested in his 15 hands is not, he's 14.2. He is 9 years old. I will double check his actual year of birth, but I'm pretty sure he's 9. I'm going to continue on a little bit more of this ride, and then I'm going to come back to you with a bit more info. Right, we're going to try our first canter. So we're turned round now, so let's just see. Remember, I'm one-handed. Come on, Chocolate, let's trot. Let's trot. Good boy. Good boy. Nice steady trot. So he's not going till he's asked. Come on then, let's have a go. Come on, Chocolate. And canter. Lovely, responsive into nice canter. One-handed. Very comfortable. Come on, keep going. We're just coming up towards where the little cob's turned out, so I'm going to excuse Chocolate if he starts nailing his head off. Come on. This is our first canter, guys. Let's keep going to the top. Excuse me if you can hear me out of breath, I'm not even running. Come on, I'm not the one carrying me. Oh, here we go, calling out to his friend. Or his friend. Oh. You probably can't hear the other horse, but he's neighing at him. Oh, trot without even asking. See if I can show you his friend. Oh, baby. There's his friend up there. Well, somebody's calling too. So there you go. That was our first canter, and I caught it on camera. And have to start getting a bit fitter. I'm now starting to do quite a bit of the riding. Those of you that have followed us for a while will perhaps wonder where Nikki is. A big congratulations to Nikki. Nikki's having her third baby. So Nick is no longer riding, obviously. So the riding's actually all down to myself and Kyle. So those that don't know, Kyle's my son. So it's very much a family sort of affair. I had quite a bad accident a couple of years ago, and to be honest, it's taken me quite a long time to recover physically. Still not 100%, but I think I'm as good as I'm going to be. So now time to drop a few of the dress sizes, because I've got the pleasure on having the slightly smaller rides. Kyle's 6'2", well 6'1", 6'2", so he definitely rides the bigger ones. So yeah, to be fair, it's given me a kick up the bum, and I'm getting on these myself, which is a big thing really. As I say, I've pulled him out the stable, tacked up, got on off the steps. I'm not as good as getting on as the others. And he stood there, waited for me, and off we went. So a little bit about Chocolate. Obviously, I'll just keep the camera running as and where I can. Just bear in mind, guys, that I'm out on my own, on a horse actually, that's never been out before. Right, well, here we go. Walk right into a test here. We've got dogs barking. I'm going to try and manoeuvre with one hand. Rattly trailer on. Good boy. Thanks. Thank you. Walk on. Right, there you go. I mean, just speaks for itself, doesn't it? That's what I love about these videos, really. Obviously, I'm wittering on and trying to give you additional information, but just take in what I'm actually videoing, guys, you know, because so often do we see videos that we're interested in, horses that we buy in. You can see them sort of in the arena doing this, that and the other, but actually I feel when you get on board like this, and I try and bring you along as much as I can on the video, it actually just gives you an insight into the real world, because this is actually what you're going to be doing, isn't it? So, as I say, a little bit about Chocolate. His owner approached me last week, and unfortunately she has a large vet. All right, guys, so I really should buy more storage. I keep running out of room on my phone. I've had to just try and buy more iCloud as I'm walking. So I've literally just come out of there by the emus, but I've had to try and do that as I'm walking. Now I've got my mother come to see is I'm all right. Have you come check on us? He's been a good boy. Oh, it doesn't matter how old you get, guys. I'm 42 now. Mum still worries about me. She's always saying, "You're not going out on your own, are you?" So she's come over and check us I'm all right. We'll just get a little trot down here. Come on, matey, then. Let's trot on. So, yeah, apologies. God knows how... I don't know how to do the memory without buying the iCloud, so yeah. Anyway, I'm not quite sure how far I got up to, but yeah, he come to us because his owner had a vet's bill with her other horse, and unfortunately ended up with a livery bill that was quite large, so had to part with Chocolate. Oh, good boy. Very obedient, guys, because I'm doing all this one-handed. He's very obedient. You're a good lad. It's making life easy. So approached ourselves. Obviously we did all the necessary checks, and here he is. He has done everything, guys. I would say he's a real fun all-rounder. He's definitely not a kick along. He's not a plod. I knew he wouldn't be anyway. But you know, he knows his job in the arena, jumps, will jump, full course of jumps, quite happily. He actually really does enjoy his jumping. That, I would say, is one of his strong points. Right, guys, I'm going to come off this phone a sec because my mother's right behind me shouting something. Clearly doesn't realise I'm videoing. She's right up my backside, so let me just answer her and come back. Yeah, guys, she was shouting. I thought she was really needing to tell me something important that probably God knows what she was going to say, and all she wanted to say is he looks really smart. Bless her. Anyway, yeah, sorry for the little interruptions there, but as I was saying, he's quite a forward, active sort. He enjoys work. He's definitely a workhorse. He is definitely one that enjoys his job and wants to get out and about. He's been an absolute saint in the stable, to be perfectly honestly. I couldn't fault him. He's been heaven to deal with, absolute heaven. He's just been the most polite, easygoing. You would think he's lived here forever. Likes to keep munching, munches his way through his hay, politely waits for his next serving, and cleaning the stable, stands there tied up, doesn't care what you're doing around him. He's been a pleasure to, I've got to say, just a complete pleasure. Been great to load and travels in a trailer, not a problem, in a lorry. Just a really easy sort to have around, just very sweet natured, very polite and easy to deal with. As I've said now a couple of times, that it was good to just get on, tack up, just mount, not a problem. He came straight out of the yard without even a second thought. Do you know what I find with these slightly more forward types is they just are so work minded, and for me that makes our life really easy because you're not sort of nagging and battling because your lazier sorts are a bit more reluctant or like to do the bare minimum, whereas when you get the sort like Chocolate who are quite happy and quite willing and wanting to get out and work, I've just had to just literally point wherever I want to go, really. As you know, that most of this, oh gosh guys, I don't know if you could hear that, or can you see that smoke there? Something's just exploded in that field. Wow. And it's still exploding. I don't know if you can see there. Look at that. I don't know if you could hear that. That was a little bit worrying. He never even flinched. Don't know if that was caught on camera very well or not. But yeah, he's been just a pocket straight out. He's not looked at a single thing. He's not batted an eyelid at anything. He's gone everywhere I've pointed him. As I say, most of it's one-handed. It's not like he's needed a lot of help from me. Great to canter. You saw that yourself. He waited and asked until I said to canter, but as soon as I said to canter, obviously he was responsive. And it's always quite difficult on the first rise because, I always think they need a few rides to settle in. They can start off quite chirpy because sometimes they're a little bit excited or a little bit anxious. Quite rightly, if you guys were starting a new job, you'd be a little bit sort of eager to get on and to please, and a little bit anxious on what lies ahead. It's the same for horses, it's the same, the living creatures. So what is good is to judge their reactions when they are feeling a little bit like that, because I don't care how good the horse is, they're a living creature. They've obviously thinks what lies ahead for them here, and they'll feel a little bit alone because they haven't got their owner and their normal friends and their normal routine and obviously familiar surroundings. So it is a lot to take in, and we really do judge. Hang on, guys. We like to judge the reactions. When I say judge the reactions, that's probably the wrong word, but we like to see what their reactions are, their natural reactions, because it does tell us a lot about the horse themselves. So I would say anybody, what chocolate would suit best, in my opinion, would be somebody, not a novice, but not because he does anything wrong, you can clearly see he doesn't, but he would be a bit more responsive and bit more switched on. So for that reason, he wouldn't want a wobbly novice on him, but somebody who just wants to enjoy riding in general, to be honest, whether that's hacking out, going and do a fun ride. Thank you. Hi. So yeah, you can see you were very well behaved dogs, in all fairness. But yeah, somebody who perhaps doesn't necessarily have anybody to hack out with all the time, doesn't want to have to wait. You've got an hour in the day spare, you want to go and ride your horse, you don't want it to be drama, you want to just tack up and go. That's obviously going to be him. I've just got him in a little roller snaffle and he's been good as gold. Somebody, as I say, wants to do fun rides for some local shows. I think I was saying before when I came off the phone that he loves his jumping. He's a great little jump horse, show jumps and cross country. He's a real game lad. Has a go at whatever you ask him to. He's a real fun all-rounder. And I know, guys, you can never say never, and I always read these adverts and people say, well, never ever book or blah blah blah. Horses are horses, but you do get a good gist of a horse that has a tendency to do that and horses that don't, and he doesn't. So I would say he is forward but straightforward, if that makes sense. Uncomplicated, honest. Oh yeah, we're coming close to home now, baby. Honest, genuine, uncomplicated, fun. He's been perfectly safe and made me feel very safe and secure. I clearly did, to be able to come out on my own anyway, first ride. And honestly, if anybody can fault that for a first ride on a horse that's arrived, not even let off any steam, not even had to run around the field, nothing, then you'd have to find, there's nothing, in my opinion, there's nothing he could have done any better. So this is Chocolate, very reasonably priced for a cracking little horse here. Thanks, guys.